frugal at times, so we booked this. I booked this flight on Southwest Airlines. Well, the only place Southwest flies into is Iceland. They didn't tell me that, so we fly out there. So I figured that out before we get out there. So I got to rent a limo to drive us from Islip to Manhattan. And so we get this limo driver, and he's hilarious. I mean, we have such a good time. So we get down into Manhattan. So this limo driver is telling us all the sights, and pointing these things out to him. And we'd been to New York City, several times before that. But his mom and dad had never been there, and they're riding in the back of the limo, and it's long, and so the driver's up front, and her dad's got a little bit of tractor ear, and so he goes, "That's the Waldorf Astoria." Yeah, that's the driver said that, and her dad goes, "The Walmart in Astoria? Never heard of that." So anyway, we all have our families, and we all have those things that go on, and we just have to laugh at ourselves sometimes. How life changes, and I have to laugh. I'm thinking, you remember Terry telling you the story about the gal that sold products to us, and she went to that rally and she saw us go straight. We were going across at 4,000. We'd been in the business 3 months. So later, her upline came over to us. Upline Emerald came over to us and said, she came up and was just whining. She was having a thinking problem, and so she says to her upline, she goes, "Well, there just isn't anybody in Ponca City ever going to build this thing, so that's why we didn't show them the plan." Okay, so then we went Emerald. Well, and we went Diamond. She went, well. So do not find yourself in the position where you have to go, well, okay, because you had a thinking problem, okay? Not everybody's, people are still sponsorable in your hometown, in the place you live, at where you work, every place you look. The problem is you haven't asked them yet. That's the problem. Somebody just hasn't asked them properly. Could be you that needs to ask them properly. And so, that is a great story. And then I laugh and realize that, how would you like to have missed out on a diamond leg, and you get to see that every time you go to a function? Don't do it. Just go ahead and show them. It's really okay. Just go ahead and show them. So, those are just real good learning experiences. But, Terry said, we you go to the doctor, because we were going to retire. I was going to take retirement from Conoco. So at 28, I go into, I take that back. I was thinking about taking retirement from Conoco at 28 years old, and but a little concerned about some of the health issues that I was, and we were running, and so Terry goes, "Well, before we, pull the trigger on this, and we maybe don't have insurance, why don't you go check that out?" And so I went to the doctor, checked it out. Well, comes to find out, I have cancer. It's like, whoa, didn't expect that, obviously, especially at 28 years old. So, you talk about redefining your life, talk about redefining your thought process, talk about giving you a thinking problem. Try something on like that, okay? Because it's not about the physical part of it; it's about the mental part of it. It's the mental process. It's the time it takes between every test. It's the time between every examination. It's the time between every treatment. It's the physical part of going through that is hard. The hard part is keeping your head screwed on straight, okay, and keeping your attitude right. If it hadn't been for this business, I'd have been a mess, okay, and Terry'd have been, a mess as well. But what's great about this business is the support team and the folks around you and the people that are going to be in your corner was awesome. But the books and the tapes and the process of learning to get your thinking right helps a bunch in those situations, because Terry always says, he says, your life is like a cup. Life's like a cup of water. Life is like carrying a cup of water, and when you get knocked, when you get hit, it's what comes out of your cup of water. That's all. That's what you're all about. It's not when things are going perfect. It's not when things are just going cruising along. It's what it's all about. And the teaching from this business was just tremendous, and our faith was awesome. And so I did the surgery. I had to be. I had a spinal tap. Anyway, whatever they do to numb you with through your spine. And so I had one of those headaches that comes with that is like, a deal. So I had to be, the only way to do that is just lay flat, don't move, and don't do anything. But you can still make phone calls. So Terry, and that's when you still had to dial the phone for you that know how to. Actually, we had a push button on ours. We were real uptown. So you can lay there and you can talk on the phone. And you can encourage people, and you can talk to them about their dreams and where they're going, because we're in the middle emerald qualification. We need to keep talking to these folks. A lot of them didn't know anything was wrong. It wasn't about me. It was about where they were going. I'd made commitments to them. I'd made commitments to help them get their dreams, to get what they were going. A lot of times we get so self-centered around how woe is me that we forget that this isn't about us. It's about other people. It's not about, what's going on necessarily with me. It's about what I can do to help other people. It's getting their eyes off ourselves and on other people. And life continues to be that process and that rotation as we remember. As long as we get our eyes on other people, everything else will be in perspective. But when we get our eyes on ourselves, the wheels start coming off. Okay? How many of you ever driven a car when the wheel came off? Oh, that was special. That was special. Try 2 wheels. All right? But that process, we pushed on through that. I used to, and so when I started taking radiation treatments, they didn't have them in Ponca City, Oklahoma, where we live. So I had to drive, or somebody could drive me. At first, I had somebody drive me every day for 6 weeks to Tulsa, Oklahoma, to get radiation treatment. And I'd typically on the way home I would get sick. Okay, and so I'd stop alongside the road, I'd throw up, and we'd get home. Put on her clothes, we go show the plan, okay? And it wasn't about me, it was about what the commitments I'd made to other people. And when you quit thinking about yourself, you can overcome lots. When you quit thinking about yourself. And so, but our upline Ed and Charlotte Courtney helped us tremendous, the business helped us tremendous amount. Dex and Bertie always helped us with our thinking. So as life went along, this business totally redefined what we were going to do. So after 6 weeks of treatment and the process, the safe play was to keep working. Why? Who said it? Somebody said it. Insurance. Okay? Yeah. I still had insurance. If I kept working, I'd still have insurance because I didn't know how long the treatment, I didn't, you're going to have to go through repeat checkups and the whole process and go along. So the counseling and talking and working with the upline, I'm like, they go, well, it might be the safe play to keep your insurance and keep doing that. I said, yeah, but what if it comes back and I'm still working? What if it comes back and I'm still working? What if I could have spent the next year or 2 with my family building a dream? What if? The safe play is not always the safe play. So I made the decision, not my upline, that I said, okay, we're going to pull the trigger. I'm out of here. So I walked into Conoco. I said, I want to retire. He said, you can't retire. You're only 28. I said, well, actually, I wrote the computer program that says I can. so I can do this. I know because I wrote the program that does this. And they said, really? And I said, yeah. They said, we've never had anybody do this. I said, well, we're going to give her a shot. Okay, so I filled out the paperwork, submitted it. I took full retirement at 28 years old. So, and walked out, and it was good. I was a full-fledged retiree, have been since I was 28. I get invited every year to the company retirement picnic. I get discounts on hearing aids, crown and bridge work, several of those things. I was in the pension. I got in the pension plan early, of course, and I couldn't take my pension until I turned 50, which here was a couple years ago. I got it up. It was up to 54 cents a month in revenue. That was before the stock market crashed down in a few years back, so it's back down now. And so I said, I hope you don't come sending this postage due, because if you do, I might end up having to pay you to send me my pension check. So And I mean, obviously I didn't work there long enough to build up any type of huge pension. But the interesting part was that nobody had ever done that. They never even they never even built a safeguard into the system that said I couldn't, because it's just not a normal thing. So anyway, I walked through there, walked out that day. Of course, the group knew about it, so they took my car and filled the car. It's a big Lincoln Town car at that time. Filled the car up to the top of the seats with styrofoam peanuts. Up to the top, from the dash to the back glass, styrofoam peanuts. And then they filled the rest of it with balloons. So of course, I opened the door and he tried to get his, how peanut, and they just, the more you try and move them, the worse they get back where you want. So I couldn't get them. I got enough out that I could get in the car and get the balloons pushed back that I could see. Of course, they'd soap the windows or put that white polished stuff on the windows. So I'd scrape that off. So I drive home. I'm like, what am I going to do with all these stuff? I need to go to a meeting. I've got a meeting that night. Actually, while I was doing radiation treatment, I made a contact in Tulsa and sponsored this couple and was doing plans for them down in Tulsa. So an hour and 45-minute drive down the Cimarron Turnpike, which is out in the middle of nowhere. Okay, I mean, they had to pipe in sunlight. Now, it is a long ways from nowhere. I've never been to Cimarron Turnpike in Oklahoma. Now, so I get ready. I still got all this. I got the balloons out, so I got the windows clean, so at least it wasn't a safety issue. But I had pretty much 3/4 of a car full of styrofoam peanuts. Okay, so I'm on my way to this meeting. Of course, when you get out, they're sticking to everything on your body, all right? So it's just not a cool thing. So I take off down the highway. I get out in the Cimarron Turnpike. It's dark. Thinking, going about 75 miles an hour. I think I can get rid of these styrofoam peanuts. 4 buttons right over here on the old armrest, 4 buttons. Think I'll just rip them all at the same time, pull all 4 windows down. It'll suck every one of those things out of there. I'm talking the widest snowstorm you ever have seen in your life. These things are spinning around your head faster than peanuts at a popcorn machine or something. I'm going, whoa, I can't see. I'm going 70 miles an hour. And these things are going around like a tornado inside the car. Not one of them goes out the window. No, they just spinning around and around and around and around and around. Golly gee. I lock it up. Right in the middle of the turnpike, slow it down. The car comes to a stop. It feels like it stopped. The peanuts are still spinning. Slowly, they finally slow down. So I'm in the middle of the highway, nobody around. It's a 4-lane highway, there's nobody out there. So I just open all the doors and scrape all of it out as I can in the highway. The next guy comes along thinking it's snowing, where did that snow come from? So I got rid of that, got to the meeting, but those are hazards that you have to get through, in life. But you look back, we all do. We look back through life to the funny things, the things that happened that were just amazing, and you're going, wow, I can't believe I did that, or I can't believe we did this, or can't believe that happened. And the stories you have from showing the plan. Oh my gosh, whoa, those are some stories. Okay, who are you going to show? Who are you going to show this business to? We got pretty particular about who we thought we should show the plan to at times. Everything we did that, we got particularly a smaller group. The more particular we became, the more particular we had. And so, I tell you a good story. When the heart of your business, my best man was in the wedding. My best man at my wedding, my best friend, we got in this business. They lived in Dallas. We lived in Ponca City. After we were about 4,000 PV, we had the chance to drive down to Dallas, show him the plan. We showed him the plan. I said, I'll call you on Wednesday. I call him back on Wednesday. I said, hey, Bob, I said, did you look at the material stuff? When can we come back and get you started? And he proceeded to throw up on me completely. And we spent the next 2 hours on the phone arguing. Okay? So I hung up. He came that close to stealing my dream. Because of something he'd heard from somebody he'd worked with that he hadn't have any relationship with for any amount of time. I've known him for 6 or 7 years. Okay? And I had a real point I was going to share with you on that phone, and I lost it. It was gone. So But he was, at that point, oh, I know what it was. It came back. It was going full circle. That happens when your wife can't hear. You start, stuff comes around the room back to you. So anyway, so I hung up the phone. I said, if it kills me, I'm building this business. Because someday I'm going to drive up on his yard in a motor coach on Tuesday morning and go, we're going to the beach. Can you go? Oh, I forgot. You got to go to work. How many of y'all have just wanted to rub it in? Just give it the old. Okay? And I'll admit that crossed my mind several times. But here's what I know. I would never want to steal this opportunity from somebody, no matter how much of a jerk or stupid they were. It's too good to steal it from them. If they want to give up on it, or they want to quit it, or they want to do, or they don't want to do it, that's their choice. But I cannot consciously go to bed at night not realizing that I didn't go for that business. That I stole their opportunity from them. That's when you know you love this business. That's when you know it's in your heart. I had a call. Well, some of you know that there's a leads program the company does. They send platinums and above. People call in. They call and they'd like to know more about the business, they think, or like to know more about the products or whatever. So the company gives you the information, and they're supposed to call you. And this person had called, left a message, and I called them back. Okay, and those leads tend to be, you never know, that's like advertising a paper. You kind of never know what you're going to get. You kind of chase something. They're not quality leads. Let's put it that way, as you would say, but they are a lead. You never know where that person's going to lead you to. All right. So this person calls up and goes, it's a single lady. And I said, this is Scott Holland. I'm returning your call about, the Amway business. And, I'm just following up with you to see if there's any questions I can answer or anything I can help you with. And she said, well, I was seriously considering starting a business with the Amway. And I said, well, that's great. I said, what questions maybe could I answer at this point? And she said, and she's about